2024.
Well, welcome back to NFL Live. We continue to celebrate Drew Brees on his 40th birthday today. His team, the Saints, of course, getting set to face the Rams in the NFC Championship. But he is not the only 40-plus quarterback playing this weekend. Tom Brady is there as well, and the Patriots head to Kansas City to face second-year sensation Patrick Mahomes, far from 40, and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. This, of course, a rematch of these two teams in Week 6. Here is what happened the last time they got together in Foxborough. Patriots leading here, 27-19. Tom Brady drops back, has time to go, but sacked and stripped by Alvin Bailey.
Boy, I mean, has time to go. He had time to register to vote, to throw it away, learn the guitar. I mean, he could have done anything in that amount of time.
Here's the ensuing Chiefs possession. Mahomes to Tyreek Hill. Chiefs now trail by 1 point, heading into the fourth quarter, setting up a game. After a Patriots field goal, Mahomes into the end zone. Chiefs take the lead by 3, 8:38 to play. That is far too much time for this guy. Here he goes, Brady. Chris Hogan, he picks up, 42 and change here.
Yeah, again, I mean, enough time for what? To
just about
renew
anything.
Your driver's license, I mean, anything. Like, this is amazing, the protection he had in that game.
There it goes again. That's Hogan again for 19, third and goal here. He's in the grasp of Breeland Speaks, but somehow makes it happen.
Remember when everyone was afraid of having penalties back then? Afraid of hitting the quarterback, and he escapes out of it?
That's right. Speaks said he let up because he was afraid of getting called.
He did. He thought he threw the ball away.
I didn't know what happened. They had, they doubled 3 guys on the play. I got close to the goal line and figured I'd just try to get it in. We needed it.
Yeah, why not? Good timing. After a Patriots field goal, Chiefs trailing by 7. Mahomes to Hill, 75 yards for the touchdown. A huge play for the Chiefs.
That guy fast?
Gosh, he's so fat. He was at a standstill before he took off. That's crazy.
So we're all tied up again, this time at 40. Here's Edelman on his impression of Mahomes.
I'm glad the game went the way it went tonight, but he's an exciting player and he's got a bright future coming.
It's here, ensuing Patriots possession. Brady to Rob Gronkowski, a 39-yard field goal gain that will get us into field goal territory, and then you know what happens. 3 seconds remaining. They'll hand it off to Stephen Gostkowski. He does the rest. His best Adam Vinatieri impression, if you will. Patriots win a thriller, 43-40. That was Week 6. Can you imagine as we head now to Arrowhead for the AFC Championship game? That's right. A good weekend of football. Another one.
More of that.
Hello in the film room, brought to you by Verizon. All right, we saw what the Patriots did. I wouldn't say they stopped him, but they tried to contain Mahomes in that Week 6 matchup. Does that give us any kind of glimpse into what they'll try to do this weekend?
Well, I think, in the first meeting in the matchup, this is one thing I'm sure Bill Belichick and his defensive staff will do. And there's a lot to this, but it starts with their rush and what they're doing. It's a 3-man rush. As you watch this, you watch Dante Hightower rock over to the other side of the field, right? And he's going to have what I call a hit call. And that means he's going to hit the tight end. Obviously, Travis Kelce is a guy that's a dominating tight end, maybe the most dominating in the league. And they're going to run a coverage called double brackets, where their 2 main guys are going to be Kelce as well as back here, and they designed this to get anywhere outside of the normal alignment. And this is right here, Tyreek Hill, and they're going to double him right here. Watch this as it takes place. You're going to have Dante Hightower being a spy. And watch the difference, what happens here. It's a 3-man rush, and he's going to mirror what Patrick Mahomes does. And you notice he does pressure this, pressures Mahomes into throwing a pick in the end zone, which there's 2 interceptions in this game that really were the difference in this high scoring outing.
I mean, what a matchup. And again, that was Week 6. Now, you were in Kansas City. They've already won one there. They sort of got that playoff drought at home off their back. But the crazy weather, and I think there's more to come.
Well, it's going to be cold. I mean,
Arctic blast,
right.
Dan.
I mean, the snow. It was cold there Saturday, and it was snowing, but it was like 30 degrees.
Right.
This is going to be like 3 degrees, and I mean that's a pretty big difference.
Arctic blast.
Yeah, an Arctic blast. I'm not a metalorologist, so
yes, but Adam Schefter
with that.
pulls out the Doppler.
Wait a second. Giants-Packers was only -1?
Only.
Remember that game? Oh. All right, Tim. So here's what we know. We know it's going to be cold, obviously. No snow in the forecast at present, but it will be cold. And what kind of impact can that extreme temperature make?
Well, listen, we've seen Tom Brady when the weather gets really bad and it's cold, he'll go to a glove. He'll wear a glove on his right hand. So, I mean, guys that are handling and throwing the football, it can impact them. he also wears a scuba diving suit underneath his uniform to keep him warm. But I think the interesting thing is when the ball gets cold, it no longer feels like leather. It feels like a hard plastic, and it gets slick. That's one of the reasons guys go to a glove. But if you wear a glove, you have to practice with it. We've seen Brady do it. He'll start wearing it that week in preparation of wearing it in a game. We've never seen Mahomes do that. How does it affect these guys? I think Brady, we've seen him handle brutal elements before. I would expect Mahomes, who played in a tough environment last week in terms of some snow, it was wet, it was cold. I don't think he'll have an issue with it, but yeah, it is something, especially when you think about how hard the ball is being thrown at times for guys that are handling the football.
Well, there's no doubt that the New England Patriots are going to have more experience in that. You just look at the quarterback position, 18 years separate the two. So Tom Brady's got more experience in cold weather than any quarterback in big spots, maybe in the history of the National Football League. So they're definitely advantaged Patriots there, but it is on grass and it is on the road, which kind of counterbalances it, I think, the fact the game's in Arrowhead.
So 18 years, that means Brady's going to college. He's headed off to Michigan when young Patrick Mahomes is born.
I mean, Mahomes was born 3 years before Andy Reid became coach of the Eagles. It's crazy how young Patrick Mahomes is compared to some of the people in this
game. But listen, anywhere near 40.
You get a little stiffer when you're cold, though, don't you? You know what I mean? Like a young guy maybe benefits from that a little bit. Yes.
Maybe.
All right. Almost odd to see the Patriots actually go on the road for this AFC Championship game. We certainly know their success at home over the years, but they'll have to get it done in Kansas City. Brady has lost his last 3 AFC Championship games on the road. All 3 came to Peyton Manning-led teams. Brady's last road win in the AFC title game back in 2004 when he beat Big Ben and the Steel Curtain. Dick Rabine never saw Tom Brady start a game for the Patriots. He never saw him hoist a Lombardi trophy or win an MVP. But before he died suddenly on August 6, 2001, the late Patriots quarterback coach did see something else, the potential. Options. Here's what Jerry Rice thinks.
Yeah, he wants to come here really bad. He's talking about running the hill with me, doing all that, and just working out, just picking my brain. And I don't know if it's going to happen because it's going to be up to Kyle Shanahan and also John Lynch. But I'm all for it if they want him to come on board, and I'm looking forward to. I would be looking forward to just passing some of that knowledge on to him and being around this guy because I know he's a great individual.
Here, of course, means the 49ers, an interesting pairing with Jimmy Garoppolo, who we hope will be back and healthy. What's your thoughts on Antonio Brown heading to the West Coast in San Francisco?
Well, I think I'll say this about Kyle Shanahan's offense. If you're the number 1 receiver in Kyle Shanahan's offense, you are a number 1 receiver. Pierre Garçon
that fits well with Antonio Brown.
Used to lead the league in catches in Washington when Kyle was there. Julio Jones' best year was a couple years ago in Atlanta under Kyle. So if you're a guy that wants to catch every ball, Kyle Shanahan may well be the coach for you.
I feel like he's a guy that wants to catch every ball, but I could be wrong. I'm going out on a
sure you're right about that.
Sturdy limb there, but
And because of that, I think the best fit for him, if it was up to him, he would go somewhere where there's a great quarterback. And there is a great quarterback with the Indianapolis Colts. And there's also a receiver there in T.Y. Hilton who I think is, in my estimation, probably past his best years, or at least kind of at that maybe the top of his career and maybe arrow pointing down at this point. And so with that being the case, listen, I think there's some attention that would be taken off of you. I also think the Colts could use some help at that position. I think it's a good match for them. He'd catch 100 balls there, I think is the point. Antonio needs to go somewhere where he's going to catch 100 balls. Otherwise, I think he ends up being a problem.
And is Indianapolis, well, okay, so then you say he won't be a problem, because my next question was simply, is Indianapolis a place that you could see handling all the other things that come along with
I do, because I think they have a strong head coach, they have a strong quarterback, and I think those are 2 things you need.
They're also projecting about $120 million in cap room. They could bring in Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, anybody that they want to do, if they want to go that way. I'm just not sure they will.
Appreciate you.
Coach, what do you think?
All right. Well, speaking of great quarterbacks and great head coaches,
stir that pot.
Yeah, now I'm not sure that Art Rudy allows this to happen, but look, they've been talking about receivers all year long, looking for receivers. I mean, here's maybe the best receiver in football, and I go back and history repeats itself a little bit, like when Randy Moss went to the
and it worked.
I think that worked out pretty well. So I'm going with the New England Patriots.
I cannot imagine the Steelers would be thrilled by this proposition, but I guess stranger things have happened.
Well, but except the Steelers have control over this. He said he's not going to release him. To trade Antonio Brown, they're going to have to eat $21 million on their cap next year. And if they're going to do it, it tells you they're doing it just to get rid of him. You still want to get some value back, so that'll dictate the trade. And yeah, it's a stretch for me to believe they're going to send him somewhere where he might be able to keep them from getting to the Super Bowl. And both of your teams would fit that description. That's why I think NFC is more likely.
In fairness to Coach and I, we were doing it from Antonio's perspective. Where does he want to go? Now, if you asked us where the Steelers would want to send him, I think they've got to deal with Saskatchewan right now. I think is where
it's lovely up there this time of year.
Napoleon's new league.
Pretty much. Yes, correct.
All right, look, I will say this. The Steelers are a long-standing sort of solid franchise. They are noted for their consistency and aren't really messing around. Who knows? But he made it very clear that the way things ended just aren't going to fly.
It's still weird to think that next year's Steelers won't have Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell. That fell apart quickly.
Indeed. All right. It didn't fall apart even at 40. Drew